Hi guys, it's JP from JP. Alright, we're back guys, it's JP from JP Fit for Life. Today we have Nick Jones again. We're going to be talking about mindset and how we've come to, have our different mindsets. Let's see, he's in the chat now, so we're going to get him. You should be able to request to join. There it is. You request, go live, and almost there. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, word.
There, I see him. How's it going, Nick Jones? How we doing?
Good, bro. Yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about some things we went through in our lives and how we've gotten to the mindset. We're going to kind of go back through the years and talk about how our mindset has changed. We're going to talk about self-education as well and how that has really changed our mindset. We're able to see so much of the past and so much of how we can apply it to our own lives and how that's opened up, the way we think. And then we're going to be taking some questions and comments from the audience. If you guys want to chime in anytime to ask any questions or just anything you want to talk about, we'd love to talk about it. So we're going to start out with Nick's story now. So Nick, take us through the years and how your mindset has changed and how you've gotten to where your mindset is now.
Well, over the course of life, you're young and naive. You have no idea what's going on, or, your personality is really in flux a lot of the time. You kind of take things, you pick and choose what you like, what you don't like. So over the course of my life, just my mindset has shifted from being more a product of what's around me versus how I want to see myself, I suppose. Like, what's the type of man I want to be? What goals do I want for myself? What kind of life do I want to live? And so after asking myself those questions, then I started thinking of, all right, who do I want to read? Who do I want to listen to? Who do I want to hang out with? And, that mindset has been a part of my idea for the past couple of years now. But, 25 years young right now. So it's like, there's still a lot of molding to do. But yeah, that's about it.
What moments do you think, take us through a couple moments, if you don't mind, like some moments where your mindset, shifted and you had to make a change, it led to a lot of different changes. So take us through a couple key moments in your life for the audience.
Couple key moments. It's a tough one, but probably when I got in a disagreement in my household. It's kind of that breaking point of the hierarchy of the household. You have a different opinion, you're growing up, and then you voice yourself against the norm. And then what happened there, I moved out, kind of like this small little journey for me over a summer. And, for me, that was big. And that made me be like, damn, I just kind of popped the bubble of protection of my household. And now I'm kind of like out here on my own, couch surfing, just trying to figure out what to do, how to eat, how to lift, freaking all the essentials. So that was a key one right there. It was kind of like, all right, this is kind of like what it feels like to be out on your own. And another one is when I took a trip to Florida. That was a big journey for me because I just wanted to travel. Did some research, figured out different ways I could do it, and that was pretty big. Pretty big change just because I was out on my own. Learned a lot about myself.
So let's see. So when we talked about kind of how you traveled and that's kind of how you've grown in that realm, you mentioned some of the self-education that you've done. How have you went about choosing different resources? How have you figured out what you wanted? I know you're a big Jordan Peterson guy. So how do you figure out what you wanted? Do you just try a bunch of things, or what is your process with self-education?
Well, with self-education, depending on who you read and what content you're absorbing, that you really don't absorb it until you start becoming a practitioner of the knowledge that you're absorbing. So whatever you're reading, if it's, whether it's self-help books or just science, whatever you're doing, until you start like applying it. Like an example I can think of is I got this book, The Natural Navigator, and it was all about how to find clues in nature that will help guide you and give you little hints and tips and tricks on how to better navigate yourself. So, you read it, you go out, you try it. So with all these other books, all these like either psychological or mentality stuff, you don't know until you start trying it. So you read it, apply it, see if you can do it in whatever capacity that is.
And it's all about that action, because you can have the idea, but if you don't put it to action, it really doesn't do much. So what have you found to be the best sources of self-education? If you were to recommend to someone that wanted to get started, how would you recommend for them to get started?
Are you speaking of like authors, or like a way to start self-educating yourself? Like,
I'm talking about just like sources in general. Like, what sources would you recommend for people to look at for self-education?
well, for YouTube's great.
Yeah.
YouTube, it's really hard, I guess. It depends on what kind of lane you're trying to get into.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an artist, you're going to be want to study more of like maybe Michelangelo and Da Vinci and like guys like that. But if it's like powerlifting, you'd look up guys like, Larry Wheels and Ed Cohn and Bill Kazmaier, like all these great people, and you watch them, study them. But just in general, I suppose it'd be like Jordan Peterson would be great. I don't know. It's a hard question because there's so many different variables to life and like what you want to achieve, and what books can help you further your own mentality goals, I suppose.
Yeah, I think what's your favorite way of taking in, like content? Like, would you like to read a book, watch a podcast, or how would you like to take in, that self-education?
I'd say visually. Visually, I'm a visual learner. So, if I see something done and in a step-by-step manner, or just right in front of me, and then I try and attack it, then that's the best way I learn. But, if you read a book, reading amazing. You read it, apply it. So I'd say, visually for me, that's been the best.
I think the best things about books is they can prepare you for situations that, if you run into a similar sort of situation, you can have that sort of knowledge going into it. Maybe you haven't been to like face to face. Like, I'm reading a book about Alexander the Great right now, and it's a little different times. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to run into those situations where I have to go all the way to India and fight off
legs and limbs left and right.
But so yeah, you can kind of take the lessons from the books, and I think that's kind of. So tell us about a time that you've taken a lesson from a piece of content, self-education, how you applied it to your life.
I probably say just books on like don't let people disrespect you, I suppose. Like if any amount of disrespect is given your way, you either clash back immediately, you got to squash that. It's that, I don't know, that's, I can just think of a couple times recently where it's like, as soon as it arises, you got to challenge it. You can't just let it fly, because if you let people disrespect you, then it goes into the future of you look weak, people are going to disrespect you further.
Mm-hmm. So when did that come into your equation, into your mindset, do you think? As like, when do you think you were really getting that down?
I'd probably say within the last like 6 months specifically, going to, 6 months to a year, bigger changes in my life that have been happening. It's like, I've done a lot that I don't deserve just to be disrespected for no reason, like without, there's people joke you can joke around. But if it's blatant disrespect, it's like, no, that's got to be squashed, man. Like I don't fly. I work too hard. Like, I train my ass off. I don't go around bothering anybody. Like, no, that doesn't fly anymore. But as soon as my goals got aligned too, and how I wanted to see myself as a person and as a man in this world today, I felt like I needed to work on that particular um, aspect of my life where it's like, all right, people joke around too much. That's either blatantly disrespectful, hidden behind a veil of comedy, or just outright disrespectful. So it's, you know, I don't care for that. It doesn't fly anymore.
Mm-hmm. So what have you done? So what have you done with some of the people that you've run into? Probably a situation like you said. They're making jokes and they're hitting too close to home. So what do you do with those type of people, and how have you dealt with your mindset on that front?
You just challenge them right then and there, man. Like you either say something funny back, like let it just what is it, the water rolling off a duck's back kind of idea. You just go along with the humor. But if it's blatantly disrespectful, it's just like, is there a problem? It's like, why are you acting this way? What's the deal? Be a decent human being. Just what's up?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's like, if you're gonna step, I'm gonna challenge, bro. So you better stomp the yard.
Do you think you changed up your circle because of that? Do you think it's made an impact on your life in that front?
Yes, absolutely.
So have you had to remove a bunch of people, or how has it gone so far with that?
Some people, it's been like a gradual thing. How people just like drift apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's been stuff like that, or there's been key moments where it's like it's just a clean break. Like, oh, okay. And then there's been ones that have been more like, you have friends that you have a lot of history with them, and so it's like you don't want to break it off, but at the same time, it's like, dude, this friendship ain't doing it for me. Like, I'm getting nothing out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So you cut it there. You either tell them straight up, like, I don't want to be friends anymore, or you bark at each other and that's it.
So what kind of improvements have you seen, or has it had a negative effect? I imagine it's had a positive effect. But what kind of changes have you seen in your life because you've started, this last year, you've gotten really strict and you've gotten really good at it? I know you have. So how has it changed your life, basically?
It just adds, or not adds, it subtracts a lot of complications, just like unnecessary emotions. Like, if you ain't adding value to my life, then there ain't no use of you. So if we aren't engaging in meaningful conversation or transactions, then there's no need, right?
Definitely, I definitely agree. So what do you see going forward with your mindset? How do you want your mindset to evolve in the next 5-10 years, as we fully, like you said earlier, we're very young, the first quarter of our lives. We can talk about a football analogy we're going to talk about later on in the mindset. But so how do you want your mindset to evolve in the next 5 to 10 years?
I say be better with business. That seems like it'd be helpful. Whether it be business on a level of interpersonal skills or business management skills, like, I don't know. That's just like, that's a whole genre, whole genre of study that I see be very helpful. I want to be eventually I want to be a father. So like having, enough experience to know what it takes to be a man in this world, so I can then transfer that to my son or my daughter, or just, be a good parent.
Mm-hmm. And what are some steps that trying to take to try to improve? Like, what are you trying to, what do you have planned going forward, and how you want to get there, and how you want to become, the best father you can be, and the best businessman you can be?
Just not get too caught up in the moment. You know what I mean? Like understand what things are for what they are, and just keep that goal in mind. Be like, what can I do every day, or what would someone who has been successful on a business level, like where did they start? What did they go through? And am I taking the proper steps and procedures, or the proper outlook to follow kind of in their footsteps or follow their teachings to then finally become, a business owner or something like that. Um, and that's part as the parent one, just what worked for the household that I grew up in, what have I seen in other people's households, what I agree, what I disagree with, and like how can I bundle that all together one day from what I've learned and pass that on.
Definitely. I think, as we get older, we're only going to get more experience. So it's going to be like we're going to just be adding up experience. When we have the self-education, it's even, it's not first-hand experience, but, it's second or third-hand, and we're able to apply that to our minds. So, we're able to, be that much more like, we're able to adapt much more quickly to situations that other people, wouldn't have access to because we read those resources. Is there anything else you want to add about mindset? We're gonna switch over to mindset pretty soon, but I want to know if you got any more pieces about mindset.
To sharpen your mindset, definitely, like I'd suggest to like the audience or yourself or whoever's listening, that sharpening your mind against, I'd say more negative people, toxic people, all that stuff, just the not so good aspects of psychology, sharpen your mind against them by reading a lot, learning, and just acting and being, and also separating. Yeah, it's just once you learn what certain traits look like and what patterns arise from those, and then how they affect you, then it's like, all right, I know how to avoid those. So I'm pretty good now. I know how to take care of myself in this situation because I've seen it before and I've seen what it can do.
That's experience with age, and we're going to be seeing that over the next few years. But do you have any other things or comments before we go over to my story on mindset?
No, I'm good now, man.
Awesome, man. Well, the floor is open to ask. You can ask me questions about my mindset story, so we can go.
All right, JP. Over the course of how's your mindset shifted from after high school and through you went to college, correct?
Yes.
Like what was that transition like from high school to college?
Well, the mindset that really shifted for me, because our town is a town of about 9,000 people, and I went to a university that had about 50,000 students on there. So immediately my world is just like I'm exposed to all these different cultures, all these different people, all these different ideas. So I was kind of able to see, I could see, the hard right the hard right Republicans, the hard right Democrats, and just the opposite sides, the opposing sides, and I just saw all these different political views, different religion views as well. So going far away from, going to Indiana, which is different than New England, and I was exposed to, a lot more races as well. So I was able to kind of grow as a person there and kind of learn about a lot more, cultures and vegetarianism. I was telling you about that the other day. I work with some clients that are vegans, vegetarians, and, just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean I can't work with them and can't understand what their religion views are, because it's because of religion. And I kind of have to understand. I research like Buddha, Confucius. I try to keep up on that kind of stuff, and I try to be continue to learn about other religions and other viewpoints, so I can have all these different just different ways of thinking of things. Because I told you that I'm an independent. I've been a Democrat. I've been a Republican before, and I kind of switched, went to independent, because I was just like, I see both sides. I've been on both sides, but I see things on the Republican side. Like, I believe in guns. I definitely believe in guns. That's something I believe in. But I also believe in medical marijuana. So that kind of thing is democratic. But I can see all different perspectives, and I'm trying to really, really adapt and be able to take it in like a sponge and try to really grow as a person, and try not to be too rooted in my ways. If I'm making a mistake, like, that's why I accept constructive feedback from people like you've given me constructive feedback in the past, and I take it in. I want to be better. So I'm not too rooted when people, if it's coming from a good place. That's kind of been, the messy ground. If someone's giving you feedback, is it in your best interest or not? But I'm always trying to improve. So I'm taking in, if I'm getting legit constructive feedback, it's something I want to take into consideration because it's going to get me to the next level. And that's, where I'm trying to go with my business, just my life and everything in general. But yeah, it's just kind of been there's so much more to the world, and I wanted to get better, and I want to rise up to that. So that's kind of where my mindset has been after school. It's just been kind of growing and just trying to been learning from all these different, sources, and kind of, escaping in a sense, but also learning and, traveling a lot. I've been to, different, states. I haven't been out of the country yet, but traveling is a huge thing, like we were talking about earlier. When you go into Florida, like it's, you see how other people live, and it's kind of it's a different experience. Like it's nothing like Vermont, like when you go to Florida. And
Crazy world.
And we're getting snow here in Chicago, so I'm located in Chicago, for people who don't know. But yeah, so I'm just I've kind of got just different experiences, meeting different people, and taking in different sources. Just try to be have an abundant mindset and not be too set in one way.
Right on. And so what have been some key moments where your mindset has shifted, or moments that have led up to a shift in mindset?
Well, the one that really jumps out to me first is definitely being cut from the basketball team. This is, one of the lowest moments in my life. I've been playing team sports, so we're going to be talking about the team versus I mindset as well today, and kind of break that down and kind of look at that from a different perspective as well. But it was definitely that basketball moment. I've been playing basketball all my life, and I was really connected to everyone on the team. It was more than just a team sport. I really looked at it as my friends. I was doing everything because of the team. I was a part of the team. I was like Spalding Crimson Tide across my jersey. That's who I was playing for, and I was working hard for. And I always gave my all to the team. And the coaches said, "You're just not good enough. We love you to death, but you're just not good enough." That's the words that Jesse Willard said to me, and they hurt. And but I used it as fuel. And I went in the gym, and I changed my life in about 5-6 years. I made a pretty incredible transformation. About 80 pounds of pretty much muscle.
Gains.
Went from about 140 to about 200, 60, 80 pounds, right around there. But it kind of changed my mindset, and I was able to, do something on my own. Everything else had been, team sports, basketball, football, baseball. I played them all. I played all these different sports. And then, I went out and did something like all on my own. I had, people that helped me along the way. Like I had gym partners who gave me advice, and I learned from, resources online. But to actually get the results in the gym, you have to do it yourself. And there's no one that can lift the weight for you. So it was that feeling of accomplishment, knowing that I wasn't dependent on the team anymore. And that's where the team mindset versus the I mindset really came into, perspective for me. Because looking back on it, it was kind of, growing up, I was, not forced to play sports, but it was kind of like recommended for me. Like my parents were like, they thought I'd like it. So they were like, let's keep going to, baseball, let's do karate. I mean, it's just something that I was grown up on. It's just kind of the way I did things. And they thought it was a good aspect. And there's definitely a lot of good aspects to team sports, a lot of discipline, hard work, a lot of great skills that you can learn. But, that autonomy over yourself, because you're listening to coaches, there's players on the team that will give you advice. Having that autonomy to be your own player outside of the team is something that I've tried to shift over after high school. But yeah, that big moment of being cut from the basketball team is one of the huge ones.
I see. Yeah, I remember, just to add in a little bit to that, I remember when I didn't make the basket. It was in middle school though. One year I didn't make it. It was pretty crushing, but I didn't do any work for it really. And then that practice all that summer, got in, and then my buddy who opened up the envelope too. Like you got to open up an envelope to find out if you made the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I made it. I was like, yeah. And my buddy was like, oh, I didn't make it. And so it's like, man, like when you don't make a team, it's soul crushing.
And the way Jesse Willard did it, I mean, face to face, I don't know if you'd prefer that over an envelope. I'm trying to figure out how I feel. I definitely would like it face to face, I think. But
Is that how it went down for you?
Yeah, it was literally face to face. I was
Okay.
I was in the office, and they were just like calling everyone in to make if they made a team or not. And they just sat me down and said, we love you to death, and you work so hard, but you're just not good enough to make a team. So I know I was doing everything I possibly could, but I just didn't have the talent.
At least he was a man about it and told you straight up.
He did offer me the JV team. He offered me that, and I turned it down. And that's also a big proponent of that, that moment, because I could have taken that route, and that could have changed things. Who knows where I could have been now if I might not have my business right now if I had taken the JV basketball. But I went on my own. I bet on myself, and I went on a new path. I blazed the trail, as Ralph Waldo Emerson would.
Right on, right on. So how about within the past year, has there been any changes in mindset or any moments that you can recall that were important enough, or maybe not even that important, but still like just little things that you notice about your mentality nowadays?
I definitely think that COVID has been a huge change in everyone's life. And I think that, I really don't, I used to be really dependent on, well, let's talk about the change I made last year. So I graduated from school, and now I'm on my own. So I'm working, I have, a job, and I work in my business as well. So I have, a fair amount going on. And, in college, it's kind of a group mentality. And I saw that as well. And I was like a part of it, but I was trying to keep my, autonomy. But people are like going after the bars and groups, like it's a very social thing. So now in COVID, I've been basically alone. I've been working on my business from home, and I've been working on on my laptop. So it's been I've been able to just kind of go out through my day with not like very little like outside. Like I can choose who I reach out to. Like if I want to have a conversation with and catch up, I'll do that. But other than that, I'm just really, I'm connecting with other people as well. But mostly I'm just doing my own thing. I'm just like, I have all these things I have to do each day. I have habits that I do. Like I try to read for, half an hour each day.
Yeah.
And I try to, watch a Joe Rogan podcast for 20 minutes, just try to keep my brain, going well. Just kind of looking at, subjects from not Democratic or Republican, but keep it in that middle, keep it in the independent. You're thinking about each situation. But really just creating a schedule that has allowed me to grow. I try to talk for 20 minutes. I'm trying to be the best public speaker, ever in the face of the world. But that's my ultimate goal. But my goal is to just talk 20 minutes a day. Just, the voice things I was talking about earlier. Just talk 20 minutes a day and just see how that goes over the course of the year and see how much it's improved. And, just try to maybe gradually increase that over time, maybe do 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then who knows where it goes from there. But just really creating a schedule and just focusing on, the person that I want to become, and just try to, create into existence with my habits and just, focus on those habits. They're going to get me there.
And did you say, I think we talked about it before, that you record yourself talking for 20 minutes, right? Like you just talk into your phone or something like that, or do you try to talk to somebody for 20 minutes? Or
I'll change it up. So some nights I'm trying to charge my phone. Some nights I'll read speeches. Past rulers, leaders. I've read like Alexander the Great speeches, Julius Caesar speeches, everything you could possibly imagine. So some nights I'll switch it up. Some nights I'll read just some of my own writing and just kind of read it aloud and make sure it's making sense. And some nights I'll just kind of ramble on and just kind of go on and just talk about whatever's on my mind. So I really try to keep it fresh and just kind of interesting. Just try to keep the aspect of talking up. That's just the public speaking. I mean, you can do that in any setting, a sales meeting, a Zoom call. It could be any sort of. You could be selling on the street corner, like I've done in the past. But just any place and just kind of the skill of talking. That's really what I want to focus on.
Gotcha. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of I was following this guy on Instagram for a while. I can't remember his name right now, but he would do this thing called random talking videos. and you would try to get a lot of people on board, and it would literally just be you just talk to your phone for a minute, like the entire duration that you can for a Instagram video on your feed. And it was like you just talk, it wasn't just random, literally random. Didn't matter what you talked about. And I tried it for a minute, and it's like when you go from no public, or not public speaking, but no speaking to any audience whatsoever, and then you jump right into something like that, it's like it's daunting. It's like I'm literally only talking to my phone, but people are going to see it. So when you're talking about something for a minute, it's like you know? It's fucking funny. But yeah, that public speaking skill, like the more you do it, like anything, man, it gets better with time. And public speaking, man, like if you're a good public speaker, you can capture that audience.
I used to do in-person speeches back in school. There used to be a club where it was public speaking, and we tried to make it a fun
So
thing to do. But that's why I love these live videos though, because it's basically the same thing, and it's how we've had to adapt because of COVID. I mean, obviously we could do a speech in person, maybe get a room, and give a speech to an audience, invite a bunch of people, market like that way, like the old days, I guess.
right.
But yeah, that's why I love live, and I love just social media, because you can post a video, like you can do a reel, or you can just do a video face up of you. And I know I've seen your content before. You post the rap videos on your stories or something. You just post the videos, and how you got to talk about your rap video. Also, we're gonna talk about your rap as well. We're not gonna forget to talk about that. But so yeah, I think it's just a good way of expressing myself, and that's kind of how I've grown as a person. I've written as well. Write blogs or something. Just write about health and fitness topics. Write tweets. Write Facebook posts.
Writing is just perfect. Like writing, it's both cathartic and it's like a skill as well. Like if you can write well, it's entertaining. It engages you. You feel like if you're a good writer, you can feel like the emotion or the tension and whatever the words that are being written and spoken. It's like when you get to that level, it's like holy crap. Like look at authors. It's like remember Jordan Peterson: learn how to read, learn how to write, and learn how to speak.
Yeah, I think reading it aloud too is a big thing, because if you can read it aloud and it sounds good, then you know it's good. Because so many people just don't read it over again and make sure it flows. It has that nice flow to it. But that's also, reading is a good thing as well, because you can look at that good structure and kind of apply it to your own writing. And you can read the sentences and kind of take words from them, or just look at sentence patterns that they've applied. And that's what I do with the speeches when I read over like a Marcus Aurelius speech back from ancient Rome. Is it kind of puts me in that time, and I'm able to take words out of his speeches and kind of sometimes apply them to my own. It's just kind of weird bringing them back though, because I just don't know how people are going to be receptive of them, because I feel like they work, but it's definitely increased my vocabulary, no doubt, and that's something that I've tried to grow as well, because as speaking or writing or just whatever it may be, I mean there's a lot of good to simple diction, and but there are aspects where that could be more important. But yeah, I don't know. What were we talking about again?
It was mostly just mentality and shifts in like moments in time in your past or recent past, and then we started talking more about writing and whatnot, and your in the sports mentality and stuff. So
Yeah.
do you want to segue that into like a team versus I mentality? You want to go into that area?
Yeah, let's hop on, because we're talking about self-education and how that kind of sets us apart with our mindset. So let's jump into the team versus I sort of mentality. So what do you see the biggest difference between team and I mentality?
That when you're doing more for a cause or something that's bigger than yourself, it makes you want to do more. It makes you want to participate more. It makes you feel like you're doing something good. It's these are my people. This is my tribe. This is my team. Whatever contribution that I can give towards them or towards this body of people, it's going to be recepted well. And on the flip side, that what you don't do or what you do participate in also can be recepted or received ill. You know, it's the team, the tribe becomes your identity, and that team, if you're a part of this team, that means you're not a part of that team. Or if you're a part of this team with this set of values, then you're not a part of that team with that set of values. And I'm not saying like a team of sports view, like not a sports team right now, just team as a group of individuals with the same goals, pastimes, desires, what have you. But there's something that separates you and your team and the team from everyone else. So what you bring to the team and what the team can give to you, you know, it's like this symbiotic relationship. And the differences are, sorry, my mind is starting to go with that one. But, you know, it's, you're not doing it for your own, I mean, it is for your own self-interest to be a part of the team, but it's not all about your self-interest at that point. It's what can I do that will help benefit the team? Mm-hmm. You know, you're not solo anymore. You know, you don't, like, there's strength in numbers, obviously. So, you know, you don't feel like just this drop in the ocean. You know, you got a puddle now. You got a puddle of people that you're with, and I don't know where I'm going with that now, but yeah, like being a part of a team, like benefits are just, you know, that's your group, that's your people. Mm-hmm. You know, you do well by your people, they'll do well by you, and it's hard to do that when you're by yourself, right? You know, it's like you're just this lone wolf, but wolves belong in packs.
I think the thing about the team versus I think is, you know, when you're thrust into it at a young age, you don't really have that self of sense identity. I mean, you know, you're going into that sport, like, you know, you go into football and you don't have that self identity. You don't know if you want to be a part of, I mean, that team. You know, you think you want to be a part of the team, but you're not completely sure in how you want your life to go forward. You're not sure where you want to go from there. So, you know, having that autonomy first and then entering a team, you know, finding a team that you're like-minded, you know, that have the same mindsets as you. But once you establish your mindset, that's when you join the team. Like you don't hop into a team before you have your self-identity, because it could be, you know, the wrong team as well. So just kind of just looking at it and then, you know, finding out who you want to be and then joining a team that, you know, is based around that. I mean, that obviously, you know, that's going to change, you know, over the years as well. But yeah, so let's see what we
also too, that I think that understanding how to be a part of a team is just as much as a learning process as anything else. You know, it's, you learn fundamentals and basics of teamwork depending on when you do it, you know, whether it was in high school or middle school sports, you know, like for Spalding or for BYSA, whatever the circumstances that you're joining a team and at what age will also inflict a change or a set of changes for the next team that you join. It's like, oh, this worked well with that team. What I brought to that team, or if you even have that self-awareness yet, is like, what worked well with this team might work well with this team. You know, like the similarities, but at the same time, it's like, all right, being a part of a jiu-jitsu club is different than being part of a football club, because in jiu-jitsu, it's you're going up against your teammates, but on the mat, it's just you. Mm-hmm. But in football, you know, it's you're battling against each other in drills and whatnot, and helping each other out. And on the field, you know, you got to trust the man next to you. He's going to block for you. He's got your back. Like, some things work well with others. Some things translate, but some things don't. So it's like, you got to realize what team, like you said, what team you want to be a part of, and like how is it you say autonomy, like how to keep your autonomy, like how to keep your self-awareness of how are you going to be the best fit, or what puzzle piece can you bring to this team that will fit well with the others. Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, it definitely goes down to, like, you know, you have to rely on these people on your team. They have to be close to you, and you have to have that connection. So that's also, you know, kind of, let's go back to kind of the football analogy. You can have the best, you know, best wide receiver on the field, but if you don't have an offensive line that's going to protect the quarterback, the wide receivers basically neutralized. Like that's the kind of biggest thing I've seen. That with my business is I have to do everything. I can't rely on anyone on my team. I have interns now that I do rely on, but I had to create that them as part of my team. But I can't rely on anyone else to do the work for my business. So that's kind of the becoming a leader of the team and directing the team is kind of the switch that I've seen being the leader of the group now. So I'm leading where the group is going instead of following the leader. So that's kind of where I've seen that as well. But relying on the people that you're around, they have to be on the same journey. That's why I hired the interns because they believe in health and wellness, just like me and you, and they believe in the cause, and they wouldn't be part of the team if they didn't believe in the cause. I asked questions in the interview process where I made sure that they were they weren't just joking around about health and fitness. This is serious business. But yeah, I just think that finding that team, the right team. That's you don't want to be when you're in the wrong team. It's going to go wrong. Like you said, the two paths. Like you take the right team and the wrong team, or the right opportunity or the wrong opportunity. Like just different ways, just different avenues that it can go.
Right on. And sometimes there's gonna teams are like families. They have their own idiosyncrasies where people have their own ways of doing things. I mean, like this is the way we've been doing it for years, and now you come in and you want to start changing stuff. Nah, you're not going to fit in here, or they might just be like, oh, he's got to break himself in kind of idea. It's it's the team isn't always what it is when you arrive, or let's say, or like when, and it's not going to be the same when you're a part of the team for a while and then someone else arrives. It's like things are going to change. The team has to be adaptable, has to be in flux at some points in time, or then it gets stale and everyone's like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Like this team's boring, like this is dumb. So it's a lot of things go into this stuff when you start thinking about it.
I think we can go back to an Alexander the Great reference. I was just thinking of it. So Alexander the Great had just, he'd gone all the way through Persia, and he was going his way to India, and his men still were disappointed with him. They didn't like him at that point very much because they were very tired. They were going all the way across the country. So even him, he'd got him all these riches, but they were like, we can't keep going into India. We can't go. Like even like his own followers were like, no, we can't. They got him so far. So yeah, you have to be able to trust the people you're with around, and make sure they're with you to the end. And there's a scene where he's going at the Indian king. He's all the way they're all the way in India. He's like on his last leg, and he's just charging at him, just willing to die for his cause. He just charges at him with a spear. There's like a herd of Indian like an army right there, and he just charges him with a spear. He should have died. He really should have died, but he didn't die. He lived to about age 32. But yeah, he just was able to, he was going to die for the cause, and you have to make sure that you're surrounded with people that are going to die for your cause.
And when you exhibit that kind of gameness where it's like, oh, this guy has the balls to do that, man, I want to be like that, or man, I trust this guy, and oh, I'm going to die for this guy now too. He's willing to die for us. We're going to die for him. And I think it was Alexander the Great as well, where I read this thing where they're around a campfire and they're throwing jokes, throwing jokes or just talking, I guess. I don't know what it was, but he points to there's three or so men, he's like, that man right there is a great swordsman. That man right there, he's a great blacksmith. And then the guys are like, oh yeah, okay. So everyone's got a talent. What about that guy over there? He doesn't do anything. He's just the cook. He's like, that guy right there makes a mean bowl of soup, or something on those lines, where it's like, all right, a leader will never tear down someone. He will never dismantle their character. He will have always something nice to say.
Yeah, I think that leadership is so important when you're on the team, and who's guiding the ship is going to be huge, because that's where the ship is going to go, and it's got to trickle down. There's the team captains that are a little higher up. I mean, they're probably the same level as the players, and then there's all the way down to the bench warmers. So everyone has to be a part of that that team mentality. But yeah, let's see. What are we talking about next?
We had that. Did you have that list or whatever of topics?
I do.
I don't think I have mine somewhere.
You want to go into mindset in the gym? Let's roll.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Nick, how has your mindset changed in the gym over the years?
I don't know. The way I look at certain exercises or how I structure a program, I'd say would be different. I don't know if that's as much mindset as just application of things, but maybe like fear of getting hurt. Now, like the smarter I've got by just getting hurt and going through certain motions and just time under tension, literally and metaphorically, that you stop fearing going for things. You stop fearing going for bigger numbers or PRs or like, oh, am I going to hurt myself? I'm going to run myself into the ground again. Like that stuff kind of goes out the window because, like we're all going to be dust one day. So like I love being in here. I'm just going to do the best I can, do what I'm scheduled to do, what I program myself to do, and just get it done. I don't care if I'm dead, half dead, or what. I'm just going to do it. I've kind of kept that mentality more or less throughout probably the past year, 2 years now, probably two and a half years now. That's been more molded in. But beforehand, it was kind of just like more of an autopilot frame of mind where it's like, I just got to do it. And that's it. I just lift, just lift. That's it. But as I started getting hurt more and seeing I wasn't making progress here or there, I had to kind of figure out, all right, what am I really doing? What are some pros and cons of this exercise or this group of exercises that I'm putting together in the same day, or how am I structuring my week and my workouts in the week? It's like a big dance and you got to figure out the right moves.
Mm-hmm.
But as far what's remained the same though has just fucking do it. Just attack the shit out of that workout. Doesn't matter. Just do the best you can. And also, like, if you're hurt or if you're injured or you got something that you can't bench but you can squat, do it. Don't just wait. Don't just wait around for everything to heal. Just let that heal in its own time, but fucking attack what you can.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing you mentioned there was adapting. Kind of as we get. We were talking about this the other day, but you have 10 years of gym experience. I've never said it. I don't think we said it live on any of our videos yet, but you have 10 years of gym experience. So you have a lot of, different, how do you keep your exercises creative and how do you keep them interesting through 10 years of exercising? Exercises get boring. You have to change up your routine. Every, 8, 12 weeks is usually when I try to change up my routine, but finding different exercises that, can help you improve, just different ways that you can do different exercises. We're talking about adapting squats. Like you don't have to do barbell, you can do dumbbell squats. Like there's just different ways of doing things. And once you get that first injury, it's, I've hurt my back, lower back squatting before, then it takes, then you got to get back onto the squatting, the squatting rack again. And, it's a little nerve wracking at first, and it can be kind of hard to gain that confidence back. I was about 3 years into my health and fitness journey, and that was one of the major injuries. I was walking around like the hunchback, like I was just like inverted like this. I was just like, I walked into CVS. I was getting my prescription on. They gave me some painkillers, but anyway, so I was walking to CVS, and there's all these older people in there, and I was the youngest person in there, and I was like, I couldn't walk. And it was the worst feeling because they're just all looking at me and I was like, this dude is 22 years old and he can't walk right now. And the rest of them are like 40 or 50 and they're just like in perfect health. And it was just kind of a wake up call. It was a wake up call that I needed to, take things slower and just kind of really focus on form and finding the right exercises for me, and not just doing exercises that, just like ones that were ingrained into me, by friends and by resources I had seen, but kind of choosing my own, what exercises I wanted to have in a safer way. to do certain exercises, but still get, work the muscles, but still be safer. I think as we get older as well, we can talk about our mindset going forward, but just kind of creating a safer routine, as we get older. We can stay in pretty good shape. We were confident that we're going to be staying in shape, but just finding ways to keep it different. I think that's the big thing with gym going forward. What else would you like to add?
Also, too, is like don't get discouraged when you have to stop or you get hurt or something happens where you only can do certain things because you get a bum knee for a while, you tore an Achilles, your elbow hurts, something like that, or like you got shoulder surgery. Like if it's like major, give it that healing time that it needs, right? If you can do workouts while being, disabled in whatever area, still do them, but don't be discouraged on how long the road's going to take after the fact. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say it's not even injured though. Let's just say you took a month off, you took 2 months off, whatever, you're just burnt out or something, or you did get hurt. Right. I said, let's not think about getting hurt, but let's just say, you pick up football, the season comes around or something like that. Sports come around. You go on a trip, work, whatever happens, and then you start working out again. And I was doing this weight for that many reps. I'm not there anymore. It's like don't get discouraged with any of that. Like it comes back around, and it's just another. You're not where you want to be, but that's the spot. That's the space in between spaces that you want to be. It's like I'm here right now, but I want to be there, and it's that journey that getting from A to B. That's what's the meaning right there. That's why you're doing it. It's that process to get there, and it's glorious once you get to where you want to be. But then it's short-lived. You're just, fuck yeah, I got 350 on the bench. Oh shit. I want 350. I want 350. So, but it's just that process. It's just the struggle and the grind. And don't get discouraged because the grind is the meaning right there.
I think the big thing you touched on there was it's me versus me. And that's kind of the gym battle that I've, tried to create in the last 3 years. I think the first 3 years, I was focused on, I was working out with people like in the gym. So, I was like, there's a little competition. I mean, competition is good. And we've talked about that in the past. Yep. But, going in the gym, and now I go in the gym alone. I usually don't work out with anyone when I'm just doing my workouts. So, it's about improving upon what I did, last week. I'm not focused on anyone else's weights. Like some people go on Instagram and see, oh, so-and-so, benched 315 the other day. And you're like, you're all jealous. Like you'll see that sometimes. Yep. Just really focusing on, it's me versus me. It's not, I'm not competing with anyone else. Like there's just these other people. And I mean, you can use competition, kind of see where you're at. But, don't focus on it too much. Just try to get better than you were the other day.
Oh yeah. I think that was a good wrap up on that.
So let's see. Is there any questions or comments? Let's see if there's any questions or comments in there.
Your friend Nick Johns looks a lot like Bobby from Outer Banks. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know who Bobby from Outer Banks is. I know who Chris Shaw is, but I don't know. Let's see. Well, Hogan isn't showed up. I was talking. Okay. Yeah. If we don't have any questions or comments, do you want to add anything else? Let me see if there's anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up for the day. What are some words of wisdom you want to leave for everyone before you go?
Wisdom. Just shut up and lift.
Shut up and lift.
Both of your problems.
All right, you heard it here, folks. Shut up and lift. Thanks, guys, for showing up, and we really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to Nick and I talk about mindset. Everyone who takes time to listen to us, we really appreciate it, and thanks for tuning in. And we're gonna try and get ads out next time. I know we had to reschedule this, but we're gonna do more of these in the future. So we look forward to tuning back in, and we appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful night. See you, Nick.
Later.